we just finished changing the sprite for our hat, and now we're going to make a new prefab. So we're going to start in Anime Studio. We're going to make a new animation, and this one's going to be a plastic bag. And making a plastic bag isn't too bad. We're going to start with a square. It could be any kind of square, and we're gonna change it to kind of a white color, and we're going to fill that in. We could use shading. That's fine. I don't know that we need it, but that's fine to have it. We're going to add a little line inside it to show that it's been sealed. We're going to make that purple. You can make it anything you want. There we go. We've got our bag and it's purple. That looks pretty good. Now we're going to double click on our layer, and we're going to change a property called opacity. Opacity refers to how much light appears to pass through an object. We've already demoed this, and we liked 50%. 50% will make this object look pretty transparent when it's falling through our screen. So the next step, we are going to save this object as our plastic bag. We're going to put in our anime assets. And you can probably guess that our next step is going to be to export the animation. We only need one frame, so it's 1:1. We're going to click OK. So this will render it right where we want it. It'll take it a few seconds to do that, and we can launch the Finder while we're waiting. And when it's done, it'll pop up right in our Finder. And then, just like last time, we're going to drag this sprite right into our sprite folder to make our object. So it should be almost done. It's rendering. I'll load up the renderer so you can watch it render, and it's done. There's our plastic bag. So we're going to grab our Unity sprites. We've got our folder here, and we're going to drag the plastic bag into our sprites. And that'll create a new Unity object. And I don't know if you're like me, but it drives me nuts to see the long name there. So we might want to change that at some point. So I'm going to drag in the plastic bag. And there it is. And I can't see it right now, so I'm going to bring it down here. Now for our purposes, that plastic bag is absolutely humongous. So I can go up to the scale and just change those values to make our plastic bag work a little bit better for us. And maybe 0.35 would be better. I want it to be small enough to fit into the trash can. That should do. It should be roughly the same size as the other objects we've gotten used to. And so in order to get this object to fall, you could probably guess, we got to add something to get it to fall. So we're going to add a rigid body 2D. That will get it to fall. And we're going to add a collider so that when it hits something, we'll know that it's hit something. The collider needs to be edited. So we'll just drag it to size. So far, so good. That looks pretty good. And I think we're pretty close to done. I'm going to rename it rather, plastic bag, because the plastic bag 001 is driving me nuts. So that looks good. And we're going to change how this is tagged. We're going to add a new tag, and we're going to call this trash. And the reason we're calling this trash is because it's trash. Plastic bags get thrown away. So if I go back to my plastic bag, you'll see that it's untagged. It hasn't been officially tagged yet. We just made the tag. So now I'm going to tag it as trash, which means if I rewrite some of our script over here, we should be able to get the trash can to recognize that it's a trash bag. So let's go ahead and take a look at our game control. So I'm going to make a prefab now. And our game doesn't have a prefab folder, so I'm going to make one. Oops. Didn't mean to make a prefab folder. I meant to make a new folder. Yep, new folder. But I wanted it in my assets, and I'm going to call it prefabs. There we go. Now I'm going to drag my plastic bag into my prefabs, and that will automatically make a prefab object of a plastic bag. And the reason that's important is that when you went through the videos, you probably saw that the game controller sends balls flying down the screen. In this case, there's 3, kind of the way they ship it. So it's got 2 bowling balls and a bomb. For us right now, I'm just going to go ahead and go to my prefab over here and drag my plastic bag into the bomb section. So now there will be bowling balls and plastic bags. And I can run my script, hit start, and I should see some plastic bags falling down. Let's see. There's a bowling ball, bowling ball, bowling ball, bowling ball. No plastic bags that time. Let's run it again. Let's see if we get some plastic bags this time. Bowling ball, bowling ball. All right, we're not getting any plastic bags. So let's resize this to 1 so that we're guaranteed to get plastic bags. Let's see here. It is not giving us our plastic bags. Let's see if we could figure out why. Let's delete the object that's on our screen. Let's take a look at our plastic bag prefab. You know what? I'll bet it was giving us bags, but our sorting layers weren't set properly. So let's go take a look at the prefabs in the game. The bowling ball is set at foreground and 1. So let's go to our prefabs for Scrappy, sorting layer foreground and 1. Perfect. Now let's try it. Bet you it works now. And plastic bag. Uh-oh, it's too big. It won't fit in. So that's not a problem. Let's just drag out our prefab. It's easier to work with it when it's out in our and let's make this a little bit smaller. Let's make it 0.2 and 0.2. That looks pretty good. And we're going to delete the prefab we had and just bring our new plastic bag down. So now we've got a new prefab. Go back into our game controller, drag in our plastic bag, and now run our game. Here we go. And as far as our game is concerned, as long as it's not a bomb, it's going to give us points. So if we want to change that, we have to go to the script that does that. So the script that changes it. So I'm going to go over here into my assets, and I'm going to create, you know what, we're just going to move the scripts folder all the way out. Perfect. So now we'll go into our scripts, and I'm going to double click on our score program. So here we go, and it tells us if you hit a bomb, take away points. Well, in this case, we're going to change our program pretty significantly. So what we want to do is change this so that if the game tag, we're going to take this code here, which we like. We're going to copy that, or actually we only need this part here. Or actually we're going to modify both of them. So let's go up here. So on the trigger enter is what we like. So there's a trigger, oops. And we're going to take this piece of code, which we also like. We're going to put that up here. Okay, so we've got a collider 2D, which is what we're going to refer to. That also has access to, whoops, we want the game object. We want our collider here. Equals trash. We're going to increase the score. by the ball value. Perfect. If it's not trash for right now, so if it's anything but trash, we're going to decrease the value. So we're going to make that decrement. So we have if the collider 2D game object equals trash, increase the score, else decrease the score. Then we're just going to get rid of these values here because they don't matter to us anymore. So I'm going to save this, and we're going to run it, see what happens. I'm going to check our console, see if there are any errors. It says there's one error that it's not happy about. On trigger, enter, collider 2D. So let's just go ahead and call this other. My mistake. Save it. Come back in. I bet our console cleans right up. It does. Let's play our game. So now, we're only going to get plastic bags anyway, but let's just test it. There we go, our score goes up, which is pretty cool. Perfect. We can check it, which we probably should. Let's go into our game controller, and let's drag from the example game. Let's drag in, just to make sure it works, let's set this to 3. Let's drag in a bowling ball, drag in a bomb, to make sure that it only scores the trash. So let's take a look. Nope. Yep. Nope. Yep. Wait a second. Did that trash not work? There it goes. So, our game seems to be working pretty well. Our next step is we're going to modify our code again to add some audio feedback to the user. So we'll take a look at how to add audio feedback in just a second.